Good morning. Welcome to my trade review today. I took one trade today. Before I jump into that, I haven't done this in a while. I just haven't had time. There's a lot been going on, so I'm gonna just try to be more consistent as I move forward. But these are actually for me. I do still do these. At least have a conversation with myself every day, but not necessarily record it every day. The more people start watching, of course, I'll make sure that I do it all the time. But it's more for me to make sure that I am going through and taking care of, following through my plans. So today was one undone as far as my trade. I would say after I dropped off my daughter today at daycare, I got back here around 8:30, I think is when I sat down, 8:30 or so. That's when I sat down, which is 8:30 is 10:30 market time. And when I sat down, I had sat down earlier in the morning and looked at the chart. And when I saw the chart this morning, the market was on a crazy run. Let's see where it's at. Right, it was all the way up here when I looked at it this morning, right? So I was like, okay, so the market hasn't been playing out. We broke out this area, which was here. This would say the area that we broke out of this consolidation, right? And we went back up and we broke out here, and we just kept, well, not this consolidation, but here. And we kept on closing new levels. And because we closed up here, we're technically, as far as I'm concerned, we're in this new level here. Even though we saw rejection, because even though we saw this rejection, we held within the area here. I'm not sure if there's a fair value gap there. Let me see what's on the weekly. Yeah, not really. In the lower time frames, there was something holding it, but there's possibly something holding it here. Yeah, okay. So it held the 4 hour, and then it held it yesterday, and we pulled back. We got our liquidity. We held these areas, and now when I woke up this morning, it was testing up here to go through this 4 hour fair value gap. But on my charts that I marked myself, I have it as a 1 hour fair value gap. So when I was originally looking at the market, I was like, well, most likely you should be looking for a short up here to see, just for a gap fill, to fill back for the move that happened. And then that's what I was thinking in the morning. But when I came back and sat down at like 8:30, the market was, I think we're over here. So we came down, we closed our gap wherever we closed. We closed here. Well, there's our high yesterday. So we closed it in a sense, and then we came back, and the market held this area, and this is a 400 level, which is a psych level. And so it held this level here, this 400 level, and that 400 level also coincide with some higher time frame 50 moving averages. You see like this 1 hour here, this 30 minute here, and then this 1 hour here that it all held. So, I was watching a few streams, and the streams, they were looking for the break down here for it to break and go lower. For a few streams that were already in the trade around here, and the trade just kept on coming into profit and going back, coming into profit and going back. But my strategy is different from theirs. So I was waiting to see personally for it to come down here and take this out, to see if we could possibly get a reversal, because I always want like a high time frame for it to move back up. And then that's what I was looking for, to take it out and then reverse back up. So that's what I was looking for. So that's when I came in, I was looking for. As far as my mental this morning, I've been working a lot on my mental, but for some reason this morning I felt kind of off. I'm not sure why, because I've been trading well, but the mental part is a constant struggle, and it will always be a struggle, but it will get better. It has gotten better over the years, so it's going to continue to get better. It's just sometimes you just don't want it to affect your trading, but it still does. So I definitely, before I did that, I went ahead and I read through my step-to-step guide that I created for myself, steps to consistent profitability, and I made sure that I did the things there. And I came in and I was like, all right, feel a little bit better. Let's figure out, a good trade. And I waited for a good trade, very good trade. So let's go down to the 1 minute, 3 minutes. So the trade I actually took, as you know, I wait for liquidity to be taken out and then go back into liquidity and go, right? So I wasn't looking for a fair value gap inverse today because there's been a lot of gaps that are not being created. So I was looking for it to take liquidity, close back. So like if it took this liquidity, I wanted to close back in here, right? I would have taken that trade, but for some reason I didn't take it because I just didn't like the movement at the time. And then when it took this one and came back up, it looked stronger. Like the movement back up looked stronger. If you can see the volume was a little bit higher on this one as well compared to this previous one. So I was like, all right, look a little bit stronger. There's a higher possibility that we're gonna keep going. So I got in the trade after it closed, I got in the trade here. And I took it up for 10 points. So I got it here, 94, so like around here is where I got out. And when you look at the move, man, I should have been in longer, right? But I am 10 points and done, 10, 20, 10, 15, 20 points. And it depends on the size of the contract. So I took, if you trade the mini, I took 20 contracts. So yeah, so if you trade the mini, you know how much that is. So yeah, and but I didn't like how I felt when I was in the trade. I was just nervous and just feeling fidgety and so I'm just gonna reduce my contract size back down to 10 or whatever the case is, and just taking my 10 points and move on. But of course, it was a great trade. And most of the trades that I get into, they do go for a decent amount of points. But I'm just trying to be consistent as possible because I don't want to be, all right, I'm going to take this one for all these points and then turn back. And then, because I haven't figured out or I haven't worked on it enough to become better at holding it longer. Because there's nothing wrong with base hits, right? But yeah, once I got the trade done, I got up from my desk and I moved around, walked around a little bit, and I didn't like how fidgety I felt. But you live and we learn, and we just try to get better. But I constantly have these conversations with myself of how can I fix these things? You're always gonna feel uncomfortable, but how do you make sure you feel when you're feeling uncomfortable, but you still stick around and stick through the plan? And that's what I did. I still stick through the plan and I stayed, but the feeling is just, it sucks. It's a sucky feeling. So it's one and done in the trade. As far as the rest of the day is concerned, I like that it took this out, right? So maybe we're gonna consolidate above and go back up here, but who knows, right? You just have to wait for your signals and keep going. This looks nice right here on the 10 minute, right? All right, we'll just go to the higher time. Let's see what the hour looks like. That's a nice candle. Let's see how the 30 minute closed out. Nice candle. We held right in this gap, and we held it and we pushed higher. So we need to close above here, right? Well, closing above these is a nice one. So we do it and check that out. So yeah, so that's my trade review. Just continue working on the mental aspect. I actually head out and get my car registered over here in New Mexico, and then I'll come back later. And I'm not gonna take any more trades. If you know what 20 contract 10 points mean, and you know how much that is. So I'm good where I am, and just continue to come back and continue to work on the mental aspect, because I would say that's the only thing holding me back from like being one of the most amazing traders, because I don't lose much, but yeah. So if you like the recap or whatever it is, I just like me talking through it for myself. And make sure you hit a like button, share, and if you ever want to have a conversation, please don't stop to hesitate to reach